February 21st, Brie Larson clarified some of her earlier statements that as of late have taken on a life of their own. This clarification and the subsequent articles in its wake looks a whole lot like damage limitation mandated by Disney. Then you might wonder, why the need for damage limitation? Over the course of the last few days, we've seen social media reactions to the movie itself, proclaiming it to be one of the best Marvel movies yet, as well as articles claiming that the opening weekend projections are up from 100 to 120 million. So what's the problem? Well, the other articles claiming that the movie is under attack from misogynist men are not all that accurate, but they do indicate there is a problem, one that no MCU movie has ever had to deal with before. In this video, I will explore just what this problem is and the attempt at damage limitation, before moving on to the most recent box office tracking figures, and finally, what the early social media reactions say about the movie, and how much stock we should put in those reactions. The problem facing Captain Marvel is a perception that has been spreading like wildfire over the last few weeks, and especially the last few days. The perception that Brie Larson, Captain Marvel herself, does not want white males to see her movie. Variations of this perception include that she does not care what white males think, and that she hates white males in general. As covered in the previous editorial, Brie Larson has made numerous statements one can twist in that general direction, but there are two in particular which are behind this perception. Both of those were covered in my previous editorial, so check that out if you need a refresher on that. While the implication is clear that if she has the choice between giving an interview to a white male or a person of color, then the white dude is out of luck. But Larson never actually called for white people to be fired, and she said many times over that she does not hate white people.
And for the third time, I don't hate white dudes.
So how did a narrative like that get started? I believe there are two interconnected reasons why the statements Brie Larson made were perceived the way that they were. One is the state of the culture in which they were uttered. This is a culture where identity politics and intersectional ideology, regardless of which name you pair it with, has a strong foothold. In accordance with it, white males are fair game. Plenty other channels cover this in far more detail, so that is a rabbit hole I won't get too deep into, other than to state that in terms of genre entertainment, this ideology manifests itself in everything from Paul Feig's Ghostbusters portraying every single white male as evil, inept, or an asshole, to a whole plot point in Star Wars The Last Jedi being devoted to shouting down and humiliating toxic masculinity. And the animated retelling of the original Star Wars, portraying Han Solo and Luke Skywalker as bumbling fools who need to be led and rescued by Leia. Also, in the commercial breaks of your genre entertainment, Gillette will remind you that all white men are bad and in dire need of doing better. It should be noted that the ideology behind all this is just that, 100% pure ideology, completely void of science, and it will not hold up when compared with actual facts and observations. So quite a few white males are getting fed up with being constantly vilified and told they are bad for engaging in behaviors that the overwhelming majority of them do not engage in. That kind of vilification may cause resentment, so that's the backdrop. Against that backdrop, you have Captain Marvel, which in some sense is promoted as, it is time for a woman to show the men of the MCU how heroism is supposed to be done. If that had been done in isolation, no one would have minded one bit. But the backdrop is a culture where quite a lot of men feel unjustly vilified, and that kind of marketing will emote Kathleen Kennedy's Star Wars and Paul Feig's Ghostbusters. Then there is the matter of Brie Larson herself. She needs to learn it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. No, she's never said that she hates white men, nor has she ever called for white reviewers to be fired. Many are nonetheless left with the impression that is what she meant, because of how she said it.
I do not need a 40-year-old white dude to tell me what didn't work for him about A Wrinkle in Time. It wasn't made for him. And for the third time, I don't hate white dudes.
Imagine for a second if she had used those exact words and that exact intonation but on black people instead. I'll let you ponder the fallout that would have wrought. Now imagine if she had said something along the lines of, "The reviewers who happen to be white all do a fair job, but the intended target audience for this movie are women and teens of color. As such, I feel movies like A Wrinkle in Time demonstrate the need for newspapers and other media outlets to expand their entertainment departments and augmenting their current reviewing staff by hiring more people of color so that all points of view can be represented." If she had said something like that, instead of a snarky,
"I do not need a 40-year-old white dude to tell me what didn't work for him about A Wrinkle in Time. It wasn't made for him."
then she wouldn't have had to repeat ad nauseum how she doesn't hate white people. This wouldn't have been an issue, and we'd all be better off for it. But even if Larson could have worded herself more diplomatically, is it fair of fans and YouTube pundits to further the narrative that is making the rounds? It may be a bit excessive, though not nearly as excessive as the media response against those very fans and YouTube pundits.
Am I saying that I hate white dudes? No, I'm not.
As we should be used to by now, the media response to the critical fans in general, and in this case, critical YouTubers in particular, is to misrepresent, claim all the haters are misogynist men who just can't deal with seeing strong female characters in their genre movies, while conveniently ignoring the fact that there are women as well among this group of proclaimed haters and trolls, as well as that these alleged misogynists all like both Princess Leia and Black Widow, they enjoyed Wonder Woman, and they loved Battle Angel Alita far more than professional critics did. But if you've followed this channel for some time, you'll know attacking fans is nothing new. What is new is the star of the movie engaging in the kind of damage limitation we just saw. On February 21st, Fox 5's entertainment reporter Kevin McCarthy, who is a white male, conducted an interview with Brie Larson. A lot of time, much more than is usual in such interviews, was devoted to this.
Now, one thing I want to say, one thing I love about you is you had a great story happen recently about inclusivity and diversity in press. And I'm a white male, and I commended you completely on that. But
Thanks.
most people, when that article dropped, it was headlines that were completely taking you out of context. Like
okay.
she wants no white men at press junction, which is not what you were saying. And people need to read the articles to actually find out the context of what you were saying.
Yeah.
And it goes on, with further clarifications before the interview returns to the usual fluff. As you may be aware, there is a business relationship between Fox and Disney. Even if the Fox News division won't be acquired by Disney, the Murdochs are now substantial shareholders in Disney and have a vested interest in seeing Disney stock soar. Now, I don't know this for a fact, but I would not be surprised if a call went out from someone in Disney to someone in Fox, letting them know that they need an interview with Brie Larson conducted, they need that point clarified, and they need it yesterday. This kind of damage limitation is unusual, and it came fast. Wonder what caused it. On February 19th, reports started popping up on CBR among others that the opening weekend tracking estimate seemingly had gone up from 100 million last week to 120 million now. Their source? The Hollywood Reporter. The Hollywood Reporter has this to say about the matter. Tracking suggests Captain Marvel, starring Brie Larson, will open to 120 million or more domestically. And that's it. No further details. Do note, though, that unlike those who refer to the Hollywood Reporter to prove an increase from last week's number, the Hollywood Reporter itself did no such thing, and there may be a good reason for that. The previously reported estimate of 100 million should not be taken literally. While it was reported as one number, it is actually a range. Deadline Hollywood were able to emphasize this vital distinction, as they published an analyst saying 100 million, give or take 20 million. What this means is that when the entertainment media published an estimate like 100 million, those who came up with the estimate actually meant the $80 to $100 million range, a span of 40 million right there. Of the estimates published last week, the upper end of the range is right in line with the estimates published by the Hollywood Reporter now. Since the Hollywood Reporter did not specify, we do not know if they are merely referencing the upper end of the current estimates, or if industry tracking is now genuinely reporting a higher range and thus a higher average. Until that distinction is known, no one should claim the estimates have changed one way or the other. Now, I'm not saying the estimates haven't gone up. By all means, they could have. However, due to the damage limitation of that interview, I am, if anything, inclined to believe, at the very least, Disney's internal tracking suggests that the opening weekend estimates might have gone down over the Brie Larson backlash. The last thing they want is that the political angle they chose to boost the movie might backfire on it, especially when the movie itself, by all accounts, is a fun one. The movie has already screened for select early audiences, and the social media reactions embargo has lifted, so now we have the early reactions. Of course, one should always be a bit wary of such early reactions. Both Green Lantern and Batman v Superman were the best movies ever, if such reactions were all to be taken at face value. Suffice to say, the general audience did not agree with those early assessments. Then again, on past Marvel movies, early reactions also indicated the movie in question was a crowd pleaser, which more often than not turned out to be the case. In order to glean anything useful from these kind of reactions, from audiences that more often than not have been hand-picked, we must overlook the hyperbole and look at the specifics. So with that in mind, here are some select reactions. Collider Stephen Weintraub said that Captain Marvel is a welcome addition to the MCU. The movie is really well done, with some great moments. Ben Mendelsohn steals almost every scene he's in. Brie Larson literally shines in the role. So ready for Avengers Endgame. Mike Ryan said that Captain Marvel isn't what I expected based on marketing. It's pretty much an all-in cosmic space movie. Also, it's a lot weirder than I expected. Ben Mendelsohn is awesome as Talos. Peter Siretta of Slash Film said that Captain Marvel is a great origin story. Brie's buddy cop chemistry with Samuel L. Jackson is so much fun, and her relationship with Lashana Lynch is the real heart of it. Ben Mendelsohn and the cat both steal the show. Gregory Elwood from the playlist said that Captain Marvel is a mixed bag. First half is slow and uninspired. Second half much better. Feels like directors should not escape the Marvel formula. Mendelsohn steals the movie. VFX full of Marvel powers, much better than trailers. Now that is interesting, as it highlights something negative, given the context that, if anything, makes this tweet more reliable. Where marketing and sales are concerned, always pay more attention to the negative reports. Drew Taylor said that, really loved Captain Marvel. It's a little bit wobbly at times, but only because it's so ambitious. Okay, something else not glowingly positive. It's beautifully constructed, hilarious, and offers tons of surprises. Brie Larson obviously rules, but Ben Mendelsohn is the surprise MVP. Eric Davis said that Captain Marvel has a great 90s sci-fi vibe, with a tone unlike any other Marvel movie, really. It's retro and trippy, mysterious and dorky. It's funny in surprising places, and badass in all the right places. It remains entertaining because it's always changing. It's got the right stuff. Perry Nemrov said that the future of the MCU gets even brighter adding Captain Marvel to the mix. Really fell for Brie Larson's... That is going to come out wrong if I read it out loud, and since Brie Larson has been the butt of too many such distasteful jokes already, you'll excuse me for rewording that. Really fell for the sass, strength and energy Brie Larson displayed in the role. Same with Lashana Lynch too. Ben Mendelsohn is A+ casting as Talos, and yes, Goose is a scene stealer. Second viewing can't come soon enough. Devon Coggins said that Captain Marvel is pure joy. I cannot wait for the generation of little girls who will grow up with Carol Danvers as a hero. And Angie J. Hahn said that, well, Thanos is fucked. Okay then. There are many more of course, but my takeaway from those early reactions is this. The movie is more cosmic in nature than we expect, and overall a fun ride. It has some pacing issues, most notably in the first half, and probably because there's a lot to establish. Ben Mendelsohn as Talos and the kitty as Goose the Cat are the highlights. Brie Larson is good, and so is Lashana Lynch. Captain Marvel is really, really freaking overpowered. So, there you have it. Do you think that summary is in the ballpark of what we might expect? Will you be giving Captain Marvel a chance now that Larson has clarified her statements? Let me know in the comments.
If you like this video, then please help share it and share your opinion in the comments. Midnight's Edge aims to give the most comprehensive analysis and commentary on genre culture and entertainment. If you would like to see more of our videos, then please subscribe, hit the bell icon, and remember to indicate that you would like to be notified when new videos are uploaded. If you really like what we do, then please support us on Patreon until a better alternative comes along, or send us a direct donation through PayPal. Also check out our sister channel Midnight's Edge After Dark for live shows and other rants. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and stay tuned for more here at Midnight's Edge.